Hello everyone, today I'm going to be telling my personal story, and today my personal story is about a trip that I took to Disneyland with my family and how my grandpa and I got lost. So this story takes place about 10 years ago. My entire family on my mom's side went to Disneyland. It was something that we tried to do traditionally. Obviously it didn't always work out, but anyways, this was I think our second time on this trip. I was still relatively young. I would say I was about 8 at the time. And like I said, we had gone to Disneyland. It was our second day there. And after a fun day of riding all of the rides that you could possibly imagine, but unfortunately for me, only the ones that I was tall enough to ride, night had fallen, and we were actually planning on staying there for a while because there was going to be like a light show going on where they lit up the Ferris wheel and they had water going and everything, so it was going to be a very fun night. So we actually were staying out pretty late that night. And while we were walking along, my grandpa and I ended up seeing a cart off to the side that was selling stuff, and it was mostly just fun little toys and gadgets and all stuff of that sort. So we walked over there. The group waited for us because they knew that we were going, but anyways, we walked over there and we both found this bubble gun, which is kind of exactly how it sounds. It's just a little battery powered gun that shoots out bubbles. So we had decided to buy one, and we were having so much fun with this bubble gun. I cannot even begin to explain to you how much fun we were having with this. You would think that it was just like two kids in a candy shop type of deal. So we were playing with it, we were running around, we were popping them, and my grandpa was arguably having more fun with it than I was. But anyways, we were playing with it so much that we actually ended up running out of bubbles. And while we were in line, my grandma started getting frustrated because we were more focused on that than anything else, so she was kind of giving us a hard time. And there's actually somebody that walked by that told her, lighten up, they're just having fun and they're at Disneyland, just let them be. And so she decided to shrug it all off and to just let us have fun. And just a little side note, there was actually about 15 of us, I believe. So keeping up with a group of 15 people, if you're not paying attention, can be harder than you think. So we stopped at this other stand that we saw was selling the similar items, and we ended up buying another container of bubbles, because to refill it you just have to remove the container, throw it away, and then add another container back into it, and then it would start working again. So this time we were just in our own little world. Like I said, we ran over there and we were buying the new bubbles, and we took out the old one, put in the new one, and we just started playing with it. And I'd say it was about 5 minutes when we turned around and realized that nobody else was there. It was, I mean, obviously strangers, but it was just us two. And we had lost the group. So obviously a little bit of panic starts to kick in because it's Disneyland and there is a lot of places that you can be. And so naturally you would think, oh, well, not a big deal, just use your phone and call them. Well, even though I am young, when I was younger, there were really no iPhones. It was just flip phones, and it didn't seem like that big of a deal because we were going to be with a big group, and obviously I didn't have a phone, and my grandpa happened to have left his in his car. So now here we are, stranded at Disneyland with no phone, nobody to call, and we had no idea what to do. Now you'd think, well, just go after them in the direction you're going. It's not a big deal. You'd be able to find them. But when I tell you 5 minutes had passed, I mean 5 minutes had passed. They were long gone. It would have been pointless to try running after them. So we sat there. Obviously at 8 years old, I was a little more frantic than my grandpa was. So we sat there. I probably had shed a few tears by then. And he was trying to calm me down, kept playing with the bubble gun because, that's the best distraction at that time. Yeah. So he started blowing more bubbles, and I was just kind of running around popping them. And then eventually, the real panic started to set in when it had been about 10 to 15 minutes of us just sitting there. And I know that may sound a little bit dramatic, 10 to 15 minutes, it's really not a long time. But when you're lost, those 10 to 15 minutes tend to seem way longer than you think that they are. So we were sitting there, and like I said, he had been blowing bubbles, and by the grace of God, our family had been looking for us, obviously, because they realized that the two most rambunctious people out of the group were no longer with them, and they were on a mission to go find the lights. So my grandpa, like I said, he was still playing with the bubbles, and they somehow managed to see the bubbles from far away. So the very thing that got us lost also got us found, and they ended up coming back, and they found us, and it was a little bit of a dramatic moment, like, what is wrong with you guys? You know, we were looking all over the place for you. And then once we all regrouped, we promised we'd stick together. We shut the bubble gun off and gave it back to my grandma because, you know, she was right. We needed to just pay attention to what we were doing. So we gave the bubble gun back to my grandma, and then we went along on our merry way to go watch the light show. Now, I actually did learn a valuable lesson that day. I learned that if you get lost and you have no idea of knowing which general direction that you need to go in order to help find the people that you lost, the best advice is to just stay put. You do not want to go looking for them, because then that can just mean that you guys are just chasing each other in this big circle, and then you're just never going to be able to find them. Whereas you will probably, obviously this isn't the case in every scenario, but you will probably have more luck getting found if you stay put, and then just one group of people is moving around looking for you. So I learned that day. My grandpa actually taught me that. He said, this is a very important lesson. If you ever get lost, you just need to sit down, stay put, and wait for them to come find you. So at the end of the day, you know, we would have figured it out. We would have just met them at the car or something along those lines. But yeah, I think that is wrapping up my story. So I hope that you guys enjoyed, and thank you for listening.